Oh, my goodness. Hi, Bigby. So Houston's getting ice. Graham had to pee. Bigby broke into the studio, and Graham dared me to start the show without either one of them. So, of course, I was more than happy to do that. Oh, hi, Houston. You're live on the internets.
Hi, Internet. How are you? Eye contact. My producer gave me a note.
Yes, make eye contact.
Gotta go. Sorry.
Good luck with that one, Graham.
Come on.
That works.
There you go. Let me pour that. The rest of that on there.
Come on.
Bigby, go. Come on. Out. I don't have anything. Go.
Probably follow once I get him a
Cookie? There you go. All you gotta do is say the word cookie. Infamous Shore Billy already has a question. Christian Twombly. Hey, Christian, we were just talking about you. Man in, like, what, unique, only man in the world? Friggin' mint. I agree. I don't know why my camera's a little black and white. I don't know what happened to the color on my camera. Oh, hey guys, thanks for joining me. We got some friends here watching. We already
Sweet.
lost a viewer though, so I guess that's my fault.
Yeah.
Be more entertaining.
Clearly, I am not entertaining enough.
All right. Hi, world.
I worked on y'all's camera. I never looked at mine, and I'm just a little, I don't know. There we go. That's better. I mean, it doesn't matter about me. It's all about you two.
Let's be real. It's all about me. 6-0. Come on.
Everybody in internet world, allow me to tell you the following. Mel's been a lot tonight so far.
I have not. I'm fine. I have a sound check that proves otherwise.
I'm leaving tomorrow for a few days, and Mel's doing essentially what we like to call a cam.
No shit.
I resemble that remark. No
shit.
lies detected. I guess I need somebody else to come put me to bed while you're gone.
Heard.
Backfired, didn't it?
As always, less work for me.
Oh. I'll be spending Valentine's Day all by myself.
Yeah, you hate Valentine's
Who
Day.
wants to win a date with producer Mel? I could be bought with
All right.
chocolates and weed.
We ready to do a show, kids?
Ooh, even better if weeds and chocolate.
This is Chris from Houston, and you're listening to Drunkards United. Come on, you Irons!
Ouch.
Wellness check on Smokey. Smokey, you doing okay, bud?
He hasn't commented a goddamn thing that I've seen all weekend.
No, he didn't like the
Since
halftime
yesterday.
show. And I was like, we're in a bad mood? And he even missed that reference, so I think he blocked it out.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, it was a lot of hurt that happened.
Oh, big time hurt.
Whew, not 9, though. Let's start the show.
Born in the land of Bowie, Maryland. Bred to be a fan of fucking Everton. Punch you in the eye and drink your rye. Sam Houston.
Sam Houston?
Arsenal fans have another Sam. AKA the fucking Gooner Graham. Snub of my lord. Look straight in shorts. Sam Graham, hey.
Sam Graham.
Fucking United! Fucking United!
Hello and welcome to the DU Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League as told by two common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Houston, and the man I work with, Mr. Samuel Graham. Sammy, how you doing, buddy?
Doing very well, thank you. How are you?
Hanging in there. And, of course, on the ones and twos, a beautiful, beautiful woman that 20 years ago, exactly today, I walked into a flower shop to say hello and introduce myself to my beautiful bride, and on the ones and twos, producer Mel. How you doing, girly?
Hi, love.
To bring a little levity into that situation, weren't you wearing a trench coat and a very wrinkled shirt?
Yes, I was.
Driving a beat-up Buick, and the internet went, red flag, run. Run, Taylor. I mean, run, Melissa, run.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure we had the full picture. Since this is a comedy show, not a love pod.
And the very
They
next
are-
week on our first date, got cheeks. We're recording at the DU Public House just outside the nation's capital. You can check us out wherever you get your pods, and of course, streaming live every single Monday night. Should you want to chat with us, there is many ways that you can. Mr. Graham, tell the good people how they can get in touch.
Absolutely. It is at DU Football Show on all the social medias and dufootballshow@gmail.com to get in touch via email. And I do know what we're going out on injury time. And it's another ludicrous track from back in the day.
Producer Mel, you were about to mention the bevy of people on the internet.
Yeah, we got a lot of people in the chat room. Most of them are fascinated with my old-timey camera because I'm struggling with the settings. I worked on y'all's stuff and not mine, and now it's driving them crazy and driving me crazy.
That looks good.
This is a reason to watch the show live every week.
There you go. That's it? Nothing else?
Yep, that's it.
Producer, producing shit, getting it done.
Not a comment,
I
nobody saying
produced
anything.
it all last week.
Sam and myself both work in the wine and spirit industry and both have a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirit. So as the red-blooded Americans we are, we've had to have a drink in our hand throughout this show and every single show. Mr. Graham, the train keeps rolling, and we're on numero 11, right?
Yes.
Tell us all about it.
Number 11. This is the Barrel Craft Spirit 6-year-old cask strength, batch 35. It clocks in at 117.5 proof. Should run you around $90 on the shelf. My experience with Barrel is it's usually about $100 on the shelf. Panel rating was a 94, and it's a blend of straight bourbons. And your blurb comes from Jeffrey Lindenmuth of the Whiskey Advocate Tasting Panel, and he says, beyond 6-year-old bourbon, this also includes 7, 8, and 13-year-olds. Hailing from Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee, Barrel has made a tradition of avoiding a standard formula. But what is standard is its remarkable skill at sourcing and blending surprisingly drinkable at this proof bourbons. Sweet cornbread and jammy strawberry aromas lead to a palate rich with root beer spices and cinnamon before a finish of drying leather and cacao. I don't necessarily disagree with that. It is a little dry over the mid-palate.
Yeah.
I did notice that. I get more of those root beer and kind of cinnamon spices up front than I do the cacao at the
Sarsaparilla
end.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that more than I get the chocolate at the end.
This is the best thing I've had from Barrel.
But maybe let's see what
And-
happens with a little ice, because that was my neat.
Yeah. It still has quite a bit of heat, good intensity of flavors with the ice. It is actually quite lovely. I think it's way better than the Seagrass last year, and the Seagrass was number 4.
4 or something. Yeah, kick its ass, Seagrass.
Yeah, this is way better, and it's the first. I've talked about Barrel before. It's like, I like it, but it's most of the whiskeys I've had from them are decent, but you just don't really kind of know what's going on. The bottle's always the same. The label might have a different coloration to it. You don't always know what finish is what, so it's like always feel like you're chasing a label with them, you know? And also, I got this from Lax in Beltsville, so I got it right under cost.
Nice.
Yeah, so they typically are one of the type of people who will do like the best price in town type of
Do
deal.
like a lost leader to get you in, and
Yeah.
almost like Total Wine in some cases.
I think they do it as a double-fingered salute to Total Wine because Total Wine's less than 8 miles away from them. So
Yeah,
I think
fair.
they do that pricing very specifically to go, oh, yeah, 2 can play that game, asshole.
Yeah.
You know? And
But they got to be making money on something is the issue.
Oh,
so.
yeah, they do. They do. They make their money.
That's what I'm
It's-
saying.
They buy so much. They buy at such a bulk level.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
know? So they buy at the very best QD that they can buy so they can put it at the best possible price that they can.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I I really like this bottle of whiskey. This is a great fucking bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm
Very-
excited to see what this ice does to it in a few minutes. See if any more of that description comes out at all. But yeah, when I had it neat, it was very much all that kind of, like you said, sarsaparilla, kind of clove, maybe cinnamon up front, and then I got a lot of that dryness, that kind of boot leather over the mid palate.
Yeah, it's
It's very good. I was impressed with it for
where
sure, and it does
I-
not drink 117 and a half.
Oh God, no! I mean, it has heat. It definitely has heat.
Yeah, but if this was blind, I probably would have said somewhere between 95 and 100 tops.
I would have done over 100. I'd said 105 probably for me. Yeah.
Okay.
But I notice hot a lot more than you do.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm more sensitive. It's not a knock on you. I'm a more sensitive drinker to overproof stuff.
Yeah,
I think
and then
that's what
you
it is.
start crying and all that.
Well, so where
I
things
feel like
go.
there's a joke at my expense in there somewhere.
You wrote it yourself, hon. You wrote it
Listen,
yourself.
after that TV, we told you to run Melissa Run. We didn't need him to yell at me
I
for you to
know.
do it.
Yeah, exactly. If the TV wasn't fucking talking back to me, the TV wouldn't have had a fucking problem. Now,
Red
would
flag.
it?
Looks like Andy Reid, acts like Travis Kelce.
Ironically, I was
A lot of
Andy
small
Reid.
dick energy
I
over
was-
there.
I was Andy Reid in all of the memes, and you were Travis Kelce. What else should we do, Mr. Graham?
Always remember to drink responsibly.
all
of
right,
course.
cheers, kids. Let's get into the show.
Yeah, the cup doesn't have the same ring.
No, it doesn't. That's fine. But it's on the happy face today since we won 6-0.
He's in a good mood. All right, we open at the top of the league, where it is clearly a 3-horse race. Two sides got professional wins over bottom of the table opponents, as the other got a convincing win over a club that handed him a defeat earlier in the season. Manchester City 2, Everton 0, Liverpool 3, Burnley 1, Arsenal 6, West Ham 0.
Come on.
City never really challenged for a lot of the game until the 70th minute, when they finally had their first shot on target, which was in the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, they created chances. They just didn't take those chances. The shots were wayward. They were blocked. They were whatever. So you couldn't really count.
You okay there, stud?
Found it. I was twiddling my pen and dropped it. Nothing was clear cut. I mean, in this first half, at least at all, really, in the beginning of the second half. City were always gonna advance into the final third here and there. But Everton really had the better of those chances and actually forced Ederson into a save or two. The big thing was I thought it was quite unfortunate. What a great pass from Dwight McNeil. That kind of little reverse ball through the middle. Problem was it fell to Godfrey and not one of your strikers, because that little hesitation, that little like, oh, am I supposed to run here? The chance was gone. It allowed Ake to kind of recover. And I mean, Godfrey did everything he could to do his best Luis Diaz impression, but ultimately Ederson came out and gathered.
I did get a lovely message from HR. Not a very godly thing that he had to say. It was like, if ever anybody should be kicked in the face, it's Ederson. I actually like an Everton player for once. I was like, ooh, look at you, Christian man, wanting violence upon another.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah,
When did the Crusade start?
Yeah, for me, this was Everton showed some resolution. Now, of course, there's been, the lovely world of the internet doing, why aren't they playing it? Why aren't they? That was ugly football. Like, that's exactly the game plan you need
That's
to
the
have
idea, right,
when
yeah.
you're playing. And don't get pissed that you couldn't get a fucking shot on goal.
Well,
Like,
here's the thing. Like, think back, if you will, because it's a very short in the memory comparison here. Think back to what happened, West Ham and Arsenal.
yeah.
All they did was ugly it up. It was 11 men behind the ball. You at least had chances. West Ham for 47 minutes, 48 minutes, didn't do anything in that game. And then got those two kind of counterattacks, right, to beat us 2-0 in December. This was almost executed to perfection. It took 70 odd minutes for them to even find a shot on target.
You wonder how the game might have changed if Everton was able to put one in. Like,
Oh yeah, because you would have stacked 10 behind the ball and just went Calvert-Lewin. Good luck.
yeah.
What does Beto just not have any field awareness? What was? I mean, there was one. He was complaining, and he was at least 3 yards offside.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. That was bad. That was very bad.
I couldn't figure out what he was playing at.
Yeah, I mean there was the two. He was really offsides. I'd let you know probably why Calvert-Lewin's the starter and Beto is.
Well, and the one that he
sub.
finished was actually the closest one, and he didn't really even protest that much.
Yeah, and that was a hell of a finish too.
It was a good finish.
He slotted that right home. Speaking of the sliding home, credit to Holland. Both goals, damn impressive.
Yeah.
Like that first goal, there
It was a great strike,
There was
yeah.
enough bodies in the way. Pickford got a hand on it. He just put too much fucking muscle into it.
Yep.
On his off foot, a hell of a goal. And on the second one, for all the credit we've given Branthwaite this whole season and how well he's looked, still a kid. And
Well,
Holland showed him that.
Holland's still a kid
Yeah,
also.
yeah.
He's only 22 or whatever it is. But I thought what he did was very intelligent. He's just not big dumb Viking, me like village on fire, me take your women.
Right.
That's not everything he did. That touch he had toward Branthwaite, right? And then cut it back to the outside meant Branthwaite was only ever going to hit him. Mm-hmm. So now Holland's obviously very strong. Branthwaite is very strong as well. I mean, he's a
6'5" and
big
he's
lad.
fucking big boy.
He's a big lad. But you put him in a position then where he may think he's the last defender, even though I think he had coverage on what would have been his left running back towards his own goal. So Everton's right-hand side. I think he had somebody running back enough that they probably wouldn't have sent him off. But Holland put that in his head. He had to pull out of that challenge a little bit because it could have been a straight red.
Right.
If he follows through with that challenge, could be a straight red.
Right.
And then things get ugly. So I thought what Holland did was excellent. He put Branthwaite in a very bad situation, in a situation that became untenable to defend, essentially.
Right.
And I mean, that just, I don't know if it's Pep doing that, if it was instinctual, because I haven't seen him do something that football IQ genius level that often. And it was very well done. It was a perfect run from him going in behind.
And honestly, for Everton, this is not the game you expect to win. What you wanted was to get out of it with no injuries, no reds,
And limit the damage.
And
This goal difference is going to come into play.
Dyche was in the fucking stands, like he wasn't on the touchline for this one. And you're right. The goal difference will come into play, right? And only one team in the bottom half of the table has as good of a goal differential as them.
Right.
So put together a couple of wins, and suddenly you're sitting in 12th place, and there's a lot of teams behind you because of goal differential.
Oh yeah, and we appreciate what you did too, because coupled with our win, we are now even on goal differential with City.
I'm gonna mention all of that
That's
right
fucking
here at
so.
the
Everything you did us besides not winning.
Right.
You did us the best favor you could have.
So after when we get to the end of your game, I'm going to bring up those whole stats and how tight that table is right now. What I would like to do, and I'm going to do this for my shot, is the commentators made it a point to bring it up multiple times before the game because Jack Grealish was on the bench, and then when Grealish finally got subbed in, they kept saying, by the way, one man, Jack Grealish, cost as much money as the entire Everton starting 11. Right? I just want that to sink in. And remember, we are the team that apparently misused their finances for a sporting advantage. For a sporting advantage. One guy, same cost. So our entire we're the ones that apparently got a sporting advantage. Just putting that one out in the universe. Here we go.
I like that. He cost more money than you probably are in actual debt.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. It just, that just did not get lost on me. It was like, okay, Great.
It's just the way they word stuff.
We're the ones with the sporting
It's
advantage.
just the way they word shit. And the sporting advantage isn't obviously over City. The sporting advantage is over the teams that were relegated. That's
Right.
the key.
Right. Fair.
Obviously, to before we get a ton of like, oh, fuck you, motherfucker. Da, 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 you don't know what you're talking about. Da, da,
Right.
da. It's a joke.
Rumor is
It's
either
satirical, but it's still a joke.
tomorrow or the next day we're going to hear on the
appeal or the new charges?
The appeal on if there are any points that are coming back or not to Everton.
All right, good.
That is what we're going to hear about.
I told you what my prediction is.
You've said it.
I'd
five
be
times
willing-
already.
I'd
If you
be-
say it a sixth time, you're out of pocket.
Oh
You can
no!
only
I
say
just
it
want to
5
make sure
times.
Mel's joke had some truth to it. I'd be willing to put a $5 on it that they'll give you a few back, and then when its new charges come to time to do, they'll take those same whatever they give you back, 4 points, 6 points, whatever
Right.
it is. They'll take those 6 points, dock you again, so you
Yeah.
still are the same 10 points down total.
The one thing I
That's
wonder,
what I
though,
think's gonna
one
happen.
thing I wonder though is are they going to be able to get us and Forrest in before the end of the season? Because you really can't do it come April. Like it's got to, you have to make that
They have to
decision
get it
by
done,
March.
yeah.
It has to be done by March because if you do it in April, that could directly affect those clubs and how
Absolutely.
they, it could just completely fuck 'em.
100%. What I really hope though is that these really don't affect the two of y'all. Honestly, I hope that both of you stay up as a result of despite these things, rather. But they use it as a precedent to throw the fucking book at City and Chelsea.
We'll
That's
see.
the hope.
Unfortunately, we've discussed this already. They've already have said that they can determine points rules on a case by case basis, which is their way of saying we're not going to do the same thing to City.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're saying.
Well,
they
it doesn't matter
they
because
know
it-
City and Chelsea will go to a Super League,
Right.
And they'll walk away.
Well, no, it's because they're not going to be the ones hearing the case. It's going to be some next generation lawyer that's wearing diapers right now.
Very true. because that case is going to get delayed.
Delayed. That's how it's going to go.
Huge flu bug took out a ton of the Reds, and they find themselves level at the half against Burnley, and Burnley didn't play terrible.
No, they weren't bad, but Liverpool definitely grew into the game. Burnley had a few early opportunities, but Liverpool found their feet and established themselves. And
Don't get me wrong, both City and Liverpool won professional matches. They did it the way, but against two teams in the relegation zone.
Chelsea match was
Yeah, but against those teams in the relegation zone, it was just not an like you beat a team in the top 10 that's vying for Europe that beat you earlier in the season, and you beat them soundly. You handed them an ass whooping, just style points, right? They got their wins, but probably should have beat the shit out of Everton and Burnley, respectively, by the same amount. Like, they should have really beat both.
I mean,
both of them really should have.
Liverpool definitely had the chances to do so. They did go in front, remember, as well.
Right.
But it did take them, a half hour to do so. Through Diogo Jota again, and a header again. I mean, he times he's not a very tall player. He times his jumps, right? His leaps to perfection, it seems, every fucking time. And it's really annoying
I remember
that he wins so many fucking headers.
remember the mad Australian, Timmy Cahill.
Yeah.
Short fucker. Had the most headers in the Prem when he left. Most headed goals in the Prem.
It annoys, as his previous center back, obviously.
Yeah.
It also, and I'm only 5'11". I'm not even super tall. But Jota, I think, is like 5'8".
Yeah.
And it just annoyed the absolute fucking piss out of me to the point where you're probably right. I would get a red card at some point. So I would just elbow him in the fucking throat. As he won another header over me.
Yeah, precisely.
It would just make me mad.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it almost... here we go again with this, right? And you thought at that point the floodgates might open, but Burnley didn't give up here.
What's funny, for as great of a header Jota had, O'Shea's header was even
better.
It was even
So-
better.
and
That was a brilliant
He was
header.
in. You remember NBA Jam on Super Nintendo? Mm-hmm. From the parking lot. I mean, that header was a fucking mile out,
Yep.
wasn't it?
It was an absolute
probably
bullet, too.
14, 15 yards out from goal, and and he just got so much power behind it and directed it perfectly into that top right corner. It was absolutely fantastic. There was nothing Kelleher could do about it.
Yeah, and that, but into the second half they took over. You know,
Yeah, Liverpool
took over.
reestablished themselves again. I do want to mention, because Captain Chaos, I couldn't believe how he wrapped things up, and this was all 4 goals were headers actually.
Yeah, all 4.
Now that I think about
Yeah,
it,
all
which
4
is
were headers.
interesting. Luis Diaz, what athleticism!
Was
and
Diaz a header, or
Yeah.
did he get a foot in? I
No,
thought he,
it hit off his head because it deflected off the knee underneath the leg. Like he
Oh, okay,
turned his
got it.
body and did like the goalkeeper try to plug up the 5-hole move.
Right, got
and
you.
it hit the underside of his leg and bounced up. And he was going with the foot and then readjusted his body
and then
and
get
found the
in.
head. Yeah, it was tremendous acrobatic athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
But then Darwin Nunez, you got to make mention for Captain Chaos. And for once, I think this may be the first time I've ever seen him touch a ball with control and finesse.
Yeah,
And it was
perfect.
lovely.
One thing I'm going to say about Burnley is it's very obvious Burnley are going to go down and play in a certain way. And I say go down in just every match they play. They're going to play their style.
Yeah.
And it's
No,
ultimately
they're also going to go down
it's
because
also
of it.
going to ultimately send them down. I don't think they mind, and I don't really think. There for a while, we were wondering if maybe Company was losing the team. He's not. They're still playing with desire. They're still good. They're just not as good as the teams they're playing. Is what it ultimately comes down to. I don't think Company's losing his job. Now, if Company goes down to the championship and has a stinker of a start, yeah, he gets canned. But I have a feeling they're
Do
going
you
to
think they're going to try to do a Norwich?
I think
where
they're gonna
they
do
come
what
up,
they
take
do-
the money, go down, come back up, take the money, maybe go down again, come back, take the money, actually spend it, and stay in the league.
I think they're going to do exactly what they did under Dyche, which was, remember, those first couple times, Burnley came up and down, up and down, up and
Yeah.
down. And then that third time they came up,
They spent
2
the money
seasons,
they earned,
They
yeah.
got to Europe, and then they stuck around for another 5 seasons. So
Yeah.
I have a feeling they're going to treat Company like Dyche. They're going to give him the opportunity to develop this program.
So basically what you're saying is 3 years from now, Chelsea have an opening defeat of 3-0 at home to look forward to.
Yes. At the hands of Vince's Company's Burnley. Well called. Well called. 6 players score, and it seemed to score in every variety, but 3 on set pieces. How unfucking Arsenal of you.
5.
5 on set pieces.
No, 5 players.
Oh, 5. I thought it was.
Saka had twice.
Okay, I thought it was 6. My apologies.
One, no, because he had the penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Then he scored again.
Got it.
He scored twice, but Saliba scored first, and then Gabriel scored the 4th, I think. Because I think both Saka goals were in between that, maybe. I don't remember exactly. It doesn't matter. There was such a gluttony of goals. I can't remember when they happened. And it hasn't been often we've been able to say that against West Ham, to be honest with you. This is what that game in December needed. They started playing that low line again, that low block, right, that we couldn't break down and we couldn't figure out. Once the breakthrough happened and they had to come out a little bit, especially because they were at home, easy to do away like you did against City. Let's
Right.
continue to shut up shop and limit the damage. We don't expect to get anything from this game. They wouldn't have expected to get anything against us.
Right. But at
Away
home,
away from home, they can go fuck it, but we'll bomb on. Why not? Or I'm sorry,
Yeah.
we'll pack it in.
Right.
No problem. But at home, when you've got, instead of 6,000 people on your back, you've got 60,000 people on your
and
back.
those people want to see you try.
They're going to have to come out a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. Once we got the first goal, those little pockets just started to develop. And in that 17-minute span, or whatever it was, 15-minute span, we end up putting, 4 in?
Yeah.
And it at that point, it was just, how many are we going to get? It was fucking awesome.
So we talked about it with Richarlison last week against Everton. It's worth talking about here. Declan Rice scores against his former club in their stadium, much like how Richarlison did. And it was a fucking screamer.
It was great.
It was a
It was
beautiful
a fucking
goal.
fantastic goal. Apologetic celebration.
Handled perfectly.
Sorry about this.
Yep, handled perfectly.
So I heard somebody talking about this today, and I don't know exactly where I've fallen because I understand why people do the apology celebration, but you are a professional athlete. You are paid to do a job. You did your job. Why are you apologizing for doing your job? Do a muted celebration.
Right.
Like, hey, thanks, all right, we scored, whatever, kind of thing. Don't go, like Adebayor did and run all the way to the away fans and knee slide
Right.
like he did for City that time. But the apologizing for doing what you're supposed to do, I feel like isn't great, actually. And so I'm not sure where I fall on it, because that's what I heard today. Somebody was like, do it, a little fist bump, or, shake the guy's hand that gave you the pass and then walk back to the halfway line, fine. But, you don't need to be ripping your shirt off and doing all, crazy shit. But at the same token, apologizing for doing your job is unbecoming.
I would.
What do you think?
So I think in the instance, I think it depends on the player's impact at that former club and where you score that goal, like where Richarlison scored them both in front of the Gladys Street End, right?
Fair.
And the Gladys Street End applauded him when he scored. They weren't booing. They gave the fucking golfer clap, but they were like, all right, fuck, dude, He was very important, and important to the point of he scored a goal that helped keep us up on the second to last game of the season. Like, he's
what? I
kind of
think
important.
y'all saved a bunch of money because he only needs chicken feed.
Yeah, I heard. It's pigeon feed. Thank you very
Whatever.
much. Pigeon.
But you didn't need
Right.
he didn't need to feed him proper meals.
And I think in the case of Declan Rice, like, that is your captain. He's boyhood West Ham,
So
and
he started at Chelsea at like 9,
right,
moved
and then-
to West Ham at like 11 or 12, and came through their academy, obviously
Yeah.
captained the club, and then won their first
won him
trophy
a
in 40
fucking
years with
trophy.
him.
So
And a European one at that.
I think that it's the muted celebration and just the, I don't think that they're apologizing necessarily for the goal. I think they're just saying, I recognize where I am. I recognize who you all
Yeah.
are. And that's it. I don't have an issue with it.
I just don't know where I fall
Now,
on
if
it
it's
yet.
someone-
I haven't really decided yet.
Honestly, Ross Barkley, if he had gotten credited for that goal, I wouldn't have, he left on bad terms. You know what? Fine, be an asshole to us. Like, we kind of deserve it. If you didn't leave on good terms, if you're not like a quote unquote club legend or of that kind of like a beloved player, who cares? Who fucking cares?
We took 25 shots to their 5.
It was just ridiculous.
They only had one shot on target. I think we had 12.
Now, West Ham fans are yelling and screaming about it because, West Ham fans yell and scream about everything. We
It
know them.
seems,
We
yeah.
love them. They have an MO. It's what they do. Do we need to be concerned about Moyes?
I don't think so till the end of the season, at least, because there's still now there's supposedly contract negotiations going on to potentially renew his contract and all that kind of stuff. And he's still in 6th or 7th at time of recording. Mm-hmm. I actually didn't check the league table, to be completely honest with you, before we started, but I am doing so right now, and I have turned back them dropping to 8th because things are actually quite tight there.
Yeah.
But they do have a -6 goal differential, and I think that's what everybody's upset about.
That's probably what everybody's upset about.
Yeah, but think about it. Up
They're like,
until
damn it, we have a worse goal differential than United.
up until this game against us, they were better than United.
Right.
Because United won 2-1 against Villa, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they were at a -1 because now they're at a 0.
Right. Precisely.
So they had a better goal differential than United up until this game. And they're still tied on points with Newcastle, and they're only now 5 points behind Manchester United. So they're still in the hunt for European place. I mean, it's not like David Moyes is doing a bad job. He just has these kind of fucked up results that make people angry. And his brand of football, it was the same at Everton for large portions of his most successful spell in his career.
The first game I watched Everton play, besides the FA Cup final against Chelsea, was with you. You guys beat us 6-1. You beat the ever-loving dog shit out of us.
Yeah, occasionally this happens because it was the blueprint that created Dyche. It was the blueprint that created these kind of Tony Pulis, really. Pulis was obviously already in his jobs and already had his style, but David Moyes, before those two came onto the scene with Burnley and Stoke respectfully, David Moyes was doing this in the Premier League consistently for around 8 years before we met any of the other two, you know? And it's occasionally it goes wrong.
Right.
This was one of those times.
Yeah. Here's
But it doesn't, you know, ultimately anti-football works.
Right.
And you got to remember, Paqueta's out. You know,
couple of players at AFCON.
Cunha was at AFCON and just came back, or you know, whatever. There was a few players that are. Antonio, the battering ram, is injured.
Yeah.
Still been out for what 2.5 months or something. You know, so far. So there's a lot of factors around West Ham that will get more positive soon.
Right. Right.
Right. I'm just glad it didn't happen before we played them.
Yep. Now, one thought on that, and then I want to kind of look at everything as a whole, is, and like Scotty, Smokey, you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, okay? But what I've noticed is the success of West Ham in recent history was Pellegrini, Allardyce, and Moyes. And all three of them played a very defensive style. And all three of them lost their jobs ultimately because the supporters were yelling and screaming that they wanted to see a more attractive style. Maybe know who the fuck you are and be who the fuck you are, because when you've played tighter, rougher, blue collar kind of football, your team has seen the best successes were those guys. That's when they were doing their best.
And that's the thing. Much like Everton, West Ham are a blue-collar club.
Right.
They were founded by iron workers.
Yeah.
One that my father was an iron worker. I've never hated on West Ham. I've had a bit of a soft spot for them because of that simple fact. There's nothing wrong with having blue-collar roots and being that club, being that team. That's okay. Do that. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Although, if you don't want to and you want to play more expansive, I really enjoy beating a club like a redheaded guy from Massachusetts that now lives in Arizona, as if I was his stepfather.
All right. Now, looking at all three of the clubs at the top, like I said, this is absolutely a 3-horse race. They are separated. The three clubs are separated by 2 points and 1 goal in goal differential. Arsenal and City are sitting level.
And we all still have to play each other. Me and Liverpool are done, Mel. Okay,
You and City have to face each other. Liverpool and City have to face each other.
Right. Us and Liverpool are the only fixture that's done here.
And again, what you've already got under your belt is you beat both of them in your building.
Yep.
That is right.
It's huge.
It's huge because you've always said that.
I'll tell you now, it's huge.
Very well done. The Jose Mourinho thought process is go to their building and get a draw. Both of them went to your building and did not get a draw.
I'm also
you
pretty
went
sure
to Liverpool's building and you got a draw. If you can go to City and get a draw,
I'm pretty sure both of them still have to play Spurs.
Yep.
A now fully functional Spurs since Son's back, Sar's back, which obviously will come on to their game.
Course.
But just in the context of that title race, I think they still have to play them. Manchester United aren't back. Calm down, Ray. Mike,
we'll get to them in OSO.
Everybody relax. No, but
exactly where they belong.
But Manchester United are playing better.
Yeah.
And in a derby, if a team's playing okay, you can throw form out the window.
Right.
Liverpool, I think, still have to play Manchester United again.
Liverpool still got to go to fucking Goodison.
Oh, here we go. I'm pretty sure you're 10 million quid. Maybe you can find somebody for 10 million.
Although there's, of course,
until recently, Jesse Lingard was out of contract. You could have signed him.
No.
Why didn't you?
No.
Jay Lings?
No.
Come on, bro. Get it in.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever this violent scissor motion is.
Heard violent scissoring.
Yeah, Jay Lings.
One of the things that's going on, because Luton and Liverpool have gotten pushed to the midweek for next week because of the League Cup final. Then there's, I think it's the League Cup final. But then there's
it's usually in February.
And then
probably
there's
is.
Also potential with Europe as well. There is talk that Liverpool will be pushed all the way back to the midweek before the last game of the season.
With y'all?
Uh-huh.
Oh, damn. That means I hope you suck until then and need it to stay up.
No.
Because that would help me out tremendously. Given the current situation, and if that's the fixtured lineup,
Yeah.
the best thing that could happen to me is Luton are in 18th. You're in 17th, separated by 2 points, even on goal differential.
And we need that.
When
we need that.
you stay.
Yeah. That's what you need.
Draw could be potential for trouble.
I can tell you what I very much want for the last game of the season, because our last game of the season is in your building. I want it to be exactly like the last time we had the last game
that's
of the
a
season in
shame.
your building, where we've already gained safety and you've already won the league.
And
So
you'll clap us
we'll just
when we
be-
beat you 9-0.
And we'll
Yeah.
just be drunk and singing Spirit
We're
of the
just
Blues
happy
at
to
the
be
top
here.
of our lungs.
Yeah.
Every time you score, we'll start singing our song and just be like, we don't give a shit.
Y'all just do the guard of honor for us leading up to the stage. Yeah.
The whole thing. Yeah, it'd be exactly what it would be. That would be the dream.
I didn't know that we played each other last game of the season.
We do.
Now I hope that the week prior to the last game of the season, you need that scenario.
Speaking of us already, turning our attention to the bottom of the table where it's starting to get really tight, and maybe some clubs aren't done fighting yet. Sheffield 3, Luton 1, Newcastle 3, Forest 2.
That's a moot point. Sam. You
Blades
bring it up. That's a moot point.
Blades did show some fight.
Yeah,
At
they're not
Kenilworth
Norwich.
Road.
They did it last time too. Chris Wilder was in charge, and they went down. They had a great result or two in the second half of the season, and then ultimately went out with a shadow of a doubt. They were done.
I will say,
I think that they dug themselves too much of a hole, to be honest with you.
I tend to agree, but also bad loss for the Hatters.
Oh yeah, big time.
That's the one you got to win in your building with a chance to. Everton already lost that day. A chance to grow the point
lead,
security, and you came.
I've never heard of a lead described like that.
Yeah.
That's
Point
brilliant.
security.
Point security.
Yeah.
It's like one time I heard Andy Brassel, the big European pundit, English guy.
Yep.
Couldn't remember the guard of honor term,
Mm-hmm.
and described the players doing a guard of honor as a corridor of applause
I mean,
because he couldn't think of the words for guard of honor.
it's no squad freshness, but you know what?
It's brilliant.
Court of applause.
Yeah, corridor of applause.
Yeah.
Would you
Squad
just
freshness.
No, the other one. What did you just say? Point security,
Point security. Yeah.
not a lead.
think
It's
we just-
point security. I like that.
I think we just found the title of the show.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I gotta tell you,
Squad freshness is funnier though. Out
Yeah,
of
squad
context.
freshness.
Squad freshness is good.
the
But the signs were there from the off, right?
Right.
I mean, who was it? James McAtee won it.
Yeah, scored quick.
Well, 30 seconds in, had a chance. Didn't score
Yeah.
from it, but had a chance that was on target. And well, I think got blocked actually just wide. But the shot itself was on target.
Right.
But needed an intervention. I mean, they were on it from the jump, Sheffield United, in this game. Really.
So before you get to the second goal, I want to. This is the question that I want to ask, and which really is basically the whole conversation piece of this game. Were either one of those handballs for you? Either penalty?
If there's no VAR, no. But in the context of the last 2-3 years, yeah, because they have been on a relatively regular basis.
Yeah,
But as a student of the game and having been a player for the better part of 30 years now, if that was called against me, I'd be fucking pissed.
yeah. The part I dislike is that it's if it hits any part of the arm, quote unquote,
Under
like,
the sleeve or whatever
right,
their
that's a
fucking
handball.
made up metric is.
Where the fuck are they supposed to put their arms when they jump?
Right, that's how
there's
you-
a difference.
it's how you jump.
Right, there's a difference between somebody who's jumping and their arms are here as they're trying to head the ball comes down and hits their arm, right? And then there's the guy who goes like this and puts his hand above his head
Right.
as he's jumping. That's clearly somebody putting their hand in the way. But in most of these, both of them was guy jumped up in the air, had his hands at his side. The other person won the header, headed it down into their arm. In both instances, got caught. I was like,
Well,
neither
the first
should have been a handball.
The first guy jumped, but by the time the ball touched his arm, it was down here again.
And it's like just
Because that's normal fucking body mechanics.
Yeah, and precisely.
And that's what. Oh, it's not a natural position. What does that mean? Who jumps like a pencil?
Right.
Fucking nobody.
Right, precisely.
It's ridiculous.
I
hate everything about it, but in the context of VAR, it's
what's
not
being
surprising.
Called. It's being called.
It's not surprising.
And I will give credit that at least they called it for both. That it
fair
happened.
enough.
The exact same handball happened. Well, for me, the exact same not a handball happened, and both got called as handballs.
Right.
So at least that's a wash. But also, in the context of the game, Sheffield doesn't score that second goal and go up 2-0. How does that game change? Right,
Especially in Kenilworth Road, right?
Precisely.
That building has been proven to be a bit of a cauldron recently.
Absolutely.
So if that decision goes against them, does Sheffield United start to go, oh, fuck it, another one of these where they don't care?
Right.
You know?
Right, precisely. And speaking of what was a cauldron and is definitely not a cauldron anymore, the fucking City Ground. That was a demoralizing defeat for Forest because you draw level twice and you seemingly got the point, right? You're playing them tough, you're getting chances, and then there's that just like
pitiful giveaway. It was what an ill-advised ball to play.
Gut punch of a third goal.
Yeah.
Like
Alanga was one of the better players on the field for most of the game. Took his goal really well. I wrote down because it obviously this game. No, this was the primetime game on Saturday, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
So I wrote down a lot of descriptors that would have been used on Scott Van Pelt's and the late. Who was the guy that died? Stewart.
What
was his name?
I know
For
it's
ESPN.
Stewart. I'm forgetting his first name.
I wrote down a bunch of
Stuart Scott.
Stuart
His
Scott.
first name is Stuart.
I wrote down a bunch of ESPN football descriptors. What do you need? Oh, for this, it says a good counter from Forrest, straight up the guts of Newcastle like a hot knife through butter, and a finish that was as cool as the other side of the pillow.
Not wrong.
Because it was.
Yeah.
And then for him to spaz so hard for that third goal, I mean, Alanga was that hoop. I've never once, and I've played right back a fair few times, never once thought to play that ball to my center midfielder facing his own net 25 yards from goal.
Yeah.
Ever.
Terrible.
It's a stupid. Just clear it. Just clear your lines.
Well, what's even
Just get
worse
rid of the
for
fucking ball.
Force, your two main guys come back and they both score goals.
And
at
it's
home.
But it's not like it's not like Newcastle weren't pushing. They were all there. Like you had to rush for a reason.
Right.
So just clear your lines. Just get rid of it.
Yeah, just
you're
kick it
not
long.
the best footballing team in the. It's not like you're the. It's not like you're Manchester City and you got undone this one time for the season.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not
Right.
the best footballing team in the country. Why are you doing this? And Guimaraes obviously got on top of it. And then the Forest defense retreated and gave him all the space and time in the world, and he just made it fucking happen.
Yep.
It was easy.
And
But
a brace from Bruno as well.
but his first goal is what I really want to talk about because not the training ground routine was so good that Kieran Trippier was able to overcome a hospital ball to him from the short corner to put that cross in. And Guimaraes, I mean, it wasn't as acrobatic or I don't want to say beautiful because that's harsh. Because actually, Guimaraes' was probably more beautiful. But the technical level of the strike for Paulo Di Canio for West Ham back in the day, when he had far post, he opened his body up midair. But you remember his left leg went way up and then that right-footed volley into the far corner?
Yep.
It was the exact same strike of the ball, but Guimaraes is Brazilian and it just looks prettier.
Yeah.
He also didn't have that left leg to get over it, but it also wasn't when he struck it. It wasn't as high above his waist either. But what great technical ability! What beautiful, and you could see him literally watch it into his foot.
Yep.
It was excellent.
Newcastle's getting healthy, and Newcastle's starting to look real good.
Yeah,
They're really starting to look good. For Forest,
which we knew was going to happen.
right, we knew this was going to
Eventually,
happen. We knew it
yeah.
would. Same thing with Spurs. We knew eventually they'd start to get healthy and people would be back and they'd
And they'd
be
be fine.
okay.
Yeah.
Right. We're starting to see that now.
We're just hoping Big Ange didn't have a heart attack eating all them pies before
Right, true.
before it did.
Now for Forest though, this is your home ground is no longer the fortress that it was. You're playing well but making dumb mistakes to lose games. Yeah, this is the kind of shit that when you're in a relegation battle, every little thing can start to fucking affect you, you know? It really can. It's starting to show with them. It is really starting to show with them.
I do think Hudson-Odoi, though, was it from his cross? I might be wrong about the player. But I do think they may have been. Oh, no. You know what? It wasn't. It was, was it Alonga's pass to Iwonyi?
I think it was, yes.
Who I thought they might have been a little unlucky to not be awarded a penalty. I think Dubravka raised his arm, and even in the stumble, especially from the side angle, I don't think that ball was too far gone. If he wasn't impeded, I think Iwonyi had a chance to keep that ball in play.
I thought that
I'm okay with the no call. Don't get me
I think
wrong.
it was 50-50, and I think it was two players going for the ball.
But Dubravka, the ball never left the ground is the concern. And Dubravka went two-handed and then raised that hand that tripped Iwonyi. The referees are going to say the ball was already gone. It's inconsequential. Doesn't matter. It's like an uncatchable pass in the NFL.
Right, of course.
Whatever, no problem. But I think that they're a little bit lucky to survive that. Like I said, I'm okay with the no call, but in this VAR, we've already spoken about these other handballs. In this VAR context over the last couple of years, I think they're pretty lucky to Newcastle are to escape not having conceded that penalty.
So what do we think? Everton, Luton, Forest, Palace. That's the 4 teams square in the relegation battle
For that
to stay
one
up
spot?
For that one spot.
Yeah, because Brentford have been playing better.
Fulham got a nice win.
They kept hold of Ivan Toney. Fulham got a good win, particularly, which we're going to come on to about Fulham's win. There's a big point about this game that's huge for them.
I think it's going to be the same thing I wanted to bring up as a point, so we'll get to that. So, yeah, those four, though, huh?
But, yeah, it's probably those 4 for now. I mean, obviously, the bottom of the table is relatively tight, and in 2-3 weeks, you could add somebody else into the mix.
Rounding out the rest of the league, and so that happened. Fulham 3, Bournemouth 1, Tottenham 2, Brighton 1, Brentford 2, Wolverhampton 0, Man United 2, Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 3, did a mel there. Chelsea 3, Crystal Palace 1. That's an inside joke. She's been confusing those two teams like crazy lately. She keeps saying we lost in the FA Cup to Crystal Palace. I was like, no, you lost to fucking Chelsea. We knocked Crystal Palace out of the FA Cup.
Same difference, right?
And that's been her
league
answer every
position's
time.
close.
Here is exactly what, and I have a feeling you're going to bring up the exact same thing. Munoz with the brace. A scrappy guy to find goals in the box when they don't have Jimenez doing it. This is what they have been desperately needing.
I mean, he was third favorite for that first goal. Was it the first goal? Bobby De Cordova-Reid had the first goal.
Yeah, and then he
it
had
was
the
it was the
two.
second goal, the middle goal. That it was kind of a deflected cross, and you had somebody was coming back to be there. The goalkeeper could have been coming out as well, but he would have been third favorite to get to that ball, and somehow got his studs to it and just put it just beyond the goalkeeper. It was absolutely fantastic. My point of this game was they were 2-0 up at halftime. Right? Much like they were against Burnley.
They didn't give it away.
Much like against Burnley, they gave it away very early in the second half. Gave away that not equalizer, but the half goal to have their lead. And instead of capitulating like they did against Burnley, they fucking stepped up and was it 14 minutes maybe?
If even that,
come down
immediately responded.
Score again. Right. And go, you know what? We're not doing this again.
Right.
And that showed growth. That showed a learning from this situation. We're not going to do that again. And that's huge That's fucking massive. When you're coming up against, the last 2 months haven't been particularly kind to Fulham. What you're looking for is that growth and togetherness and spirit, not letting their heads drop. Right? As you're coming into the business end, where you thought maybe there was an idea they could get tugged into the relegation battle. Now,
really
after this performance, I go, you know what? They're probably okay.
They've got a decent
learned
defense.
from that
They
situation.
should be all right.
They learned from that situation, and they got better.
Yeah, I
They
tend to
didn't
feel
do
the
that
same.
thing. That was the big takeaway from this game, in my opinion. And I think Bobby De Cordova-Reid was the best player on the pitch by far.
Yeah.
He was fucking excellent.
Had an
Willian was
amazing-
fucking 80-year-old Willian was very good as well.
Very
in
much
this
agree.
game. Yep.
And for Bournemouth, is this really the game you care about? No,
Certainly isn't.
When the games you're supposed to win in your building and nothing else really matters, you'll be safe. Get ready to go at them again next year. It's simple.
Nothing else matters.
Heard nothing else matters. Massive 3 points for Spurs, especially the way that they got it right at the fucking death.
This game should have been 10-9, 9-8,
Oh, Jesus, yes.
something like that. There
It
were
was-
so
it
many
was-
fucking chances. It was ridiculous. At least it felt that way.
It was the old Tark the Shark UNLV fucking running Rebels fucking versus, what was it, Mount St. Mary's.
Something.
We're going to play 154 to 151 in college basketball because nobody's defending.
I mean, I honestly, I need to look it up because I want to see exactly how many chances there were in the game, because it felt like every 30 seconds the tenor of the announcers went, it was like there were so many chances. So let's take a gander. Seriously? This says Brighton only had 6 shots, Spurs had 16, and shots on target were 6 to 3 in favor of Spurs. I felt like there were so many chances, it was ridiculous. Maybe it's just because they got in such good positions, and then the saves that the goalkeepers did make were excellent.
Right.
Right? Nobody made just like a routine, pat it down, bang, catch it, let's move on. Every save was very good, so the actual chances were phenomenal. That maybe skewed my opinion of this, but I legitimately thought this game was like on a fucking knife's edge, like big time.
Now, with the way, you also think about the way that it finished too dramatically, a winner at the 96th
that's true
minute.
too, yeah.
That's also going to sway how you think about it.
But 2 players that were gone in their continental tournaments getting on there. You had Papi Sarr with his goal, obviously, and then no, that wasn't Son's cross, was it? No, that was a good finish off of a save.
Yeah.
Was Papi Sarr.
Yeah.
And then Son with a brilliant ball. What a devastating counterattack to Brennan Johnson, who finished very well after being dropped to the bench in favor of Dejan Kulusevski.
Brighton now finds themselves outside of the European spots.
Yep.
Someone's not going to make it, unfortunately. There are 8 really decent
teams,
clubs that did well. I mean, United doesn't really count, but they're going to somehow figure out a way to be there.
They always do.
They always fucking
rats.
do.
Fucking rats.
But so for the Seagulls, it might be gotta go win fucking Europa. Gotta go fucking get them. Like that's
It's going to be hard because West Ham are there.
and so are Liverpool.
Oh, yeah, Liverpool are there too.
So and
Last time they haven't won that for ages.
yeah, but it's fucking the whole clippity clop thing, and they're gonna
Clippity-clop.
They're gonna suddenly fucking care about that trophy. How.
Well, the last time they were in the final was only a mere 3-4 years ago, whatever it was, but they came up against Sevilla,
Yep.
the fucking Europa League masters.
So what you're saying is now they're in Conference League. Is that they should be happy that Aston Villa's in Conference League.
They should be happy Sevilla and Villa are in Conference League.
Right. Now, the